everybody, and welcome to Book HQ. I'm super happy to join you guys today because I'm going to talk about a film that I've been waiting for a while, eagerly anticipated by many, which is Captain America: Civil War. So the release date for France was 27th. I went to see it this Wednesday, 27th. Opening day, cinema was packed. I feared for my life at certain points. But I survived, I made it, I watched it, I came out, and I wasn't trampled to death. This is going to be my review with spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, don't send me hate mail about how I ruined the film for you, just get up and leave, or switch this off. So I'm going to talk about just like the things I liked, things I didn't like, and then the questions that I have. The lighting is great, because I feel like I have a lot of difficulty with lighting in a lot of films. One of the things I really loved about the film, of course, was the tie-in with Spider-Man. They were able to achieve like bringing his story in that made perfect sense. It wasn't like this weird, we just kind of shoehorned that in there because and left us wondering like what the point of that was. So it was really well done. Even the way that it was tied in is kind of like this moment where Iron Man and Black Widow are kind of like running out of ideas and trying to think of ways in which they can, you know, help Cap, and she goes, I have an idea, and he's like, where is yours? And she's like, in Queens, and they go to Queens and they find Spider-Man. And it was really cool to see Spider-Man too, be like a real young person and be like really dorky and geeky. All he sees, he like talks too much because like he's a kid and he like gets really like psyched about things. Like he's fighting the Winter Soldier, like Bucky Barnes at one point, and Bucky like punches him and he stops the punch with his one hand, which for me in itself is like, whoa, this little kid like stopped a punch from the Winter Soldier. But he's like, oh wow, you've got an arm that's like a metallic arm, that's so cool. And like it's so funny just like the way they tie in his like child essence. The other really cool thing, of course, about the film is that there are quite a few female characters and they're all bad, which is great. Love strong female characters and not to be trifled with, just like the men aren't. And that was really cool. That was great. I really enjoyed all of the females' scenes and dialogue, and that was great. Another thing that I really loved was that Sam Wilson now with his like wings kit has like really learned how to do a lot of super cool things with it. I feel like we didn't really see its full capabilities in the last film and also in Ant-Man, not really. But in this one, and you know what I think? I think that he got some tips from Vision, because if any of you remember, Vision, you know, was a winged person in another film called Legion, and in that, and I remember when I watched Legion, I was super impressed with like Gabriel and how he like uses his wings as like combat tools, and I saw a lot of that, like some similarities in this Civil War movie with Sam and like the techniques that he does with his wings. So thanks. I'm sure that the two of them, like Vision and Sam, like had a powwow. So good on you. Knowledge sharing is power. One thing that I said, and I spoke about this in my spoiler-free video, the one thing which was kind of in the film was that like there's this one scene where, and I'm not going to spoil everything for you, but like on one of the teams, one of the characters has like a really surprising ability. Like it's really like and he does it, and so then we see Cap and Bucky like making a run for it to get to the hangar so they can get away. And then you kind of see as they're running for it, this person who they're kind of running from behind them, like you see that they're running in front of like a CGI kind of green screen type thing. And that was like, you could see it a little bit. I think like if you're paying really close attention, maybe nobody else saw it, I don't know. You can tell me in the comments. But that was like one moment where I was like, oh, boo. Well, not really so boo, because it's like the limitations of technology. I can't really boo people. But I went to that movie being Team Iron Man because I don't really like Captain America. Don't hate me. And sort of as I watched it, I was kind of like, Tony, you threw so many people under the bus. What's up with that? During the film, he realizes that like he was wrong, and he tries to write it, and he goes and he tries to write it, and then something happens, and then it's like, oh no, you've got good reason, Tony. Nobody's gonna blame you. You've got good reason. So I still came out Team Iron Man. Then another thing that about the film which was super awesome was that like the film had a lot of plot twists, right? One of the major plot twists being that the Winter Soldier is not the only Winter Soldier. So you're sitting here thinking, oh my goodness, if there's one and he's been this dangerous, what's gonna happen with all these other Winter Soldiers? Like, if so, the main villain is somebody who is driven by revenge. Like, he's a casualty of Sokovia. He's Zemo, and he was like somebody in the army in Sokovia, and his family got killed, and he is, you know, trying to get vengeance and like for them. So he succeeds in sort of getting the programming book on how to control Bucky, because like it's a series of like, I guess, keywords. And it's really funny too because Iron Man at one point refers to Bucky as the Manchurian Candidate, and I was like, ah, see what you did there. But yeah, so these keywords like activate him, and then he is ready to comply, and you can send him out to do your bidding. So he, you know, basically he's on this mission to bring down an empire, as he says, and at the end of the film you realize that like it's not at all what you thought that he was going to do, or it's not at all the way that you thought he was going to execute his great revenge plan, which was really cool. That plot twist where like, and I can just imagine the studio like being like, ha ha ha, you thought this was amateur hour? No, son, this is Marvel. This is the big leagues. We're not gonna go down that super predictable path. It had the opportunity to be super predictable, but then it wasn't. So that was really very cool. I'm not going to spoil it for you and tell you what it was that ended up not being predictable. You're just going to have to go out and watch it for yourself. And then something that I spoke about in my spoiler-free video as well is that, okay, Chadwick Boseman, my goodness, this man is good looking and he has amazing legs. I just spent a ton of time just staring at his legs and his handsomeness. I mean, just to add to the list of ridiculously good-looking men in this film. So he is the now he's become the king of Wakanda because, you know, his father dies in that big explosion at the beginning there. So it was cool to see that, like, we didn't know, like, if the scene where people were breaking into, like, a facility, we didn't know if that was Wakanda. So it was really cool to see that actually it was shot in Lagos. My only thing with that, again, is that, like, Lagos is, like, a major city. Nigeria is, like, Africa's biggest economy. And so, like, the fact that it was shot in Lagos and it was all these, like, it was a sea of squatter shack things, which was really uncool. Because, like, as I say, Hollywood, you can do better. Like, Africa, I say this because I am an African. I'm half Zimbabwean, half Zambian. I grew up in Namibia, and, like, I, you know, traveled around Africa quite a bit, and, you know, you need to do better than these very sort of blanket depictions of Africa. So the only place too where it was like, oh, it's like a modern building or whatever, was the facility that they were breaking into, and that was because it was like an international organization facility. So like, come on guys, you can do better than that. So, but I mean, I was obviously really excited and happy that, like, you know, Africa has joined the superhero leagues now with Black Panther. But like, the other thing that kind of has bothered me for a while is always like whenever there's an African, it's obviously not played by an African, and so the accent that the person has is always super weird. Like, weird in the sense that there's nobody in Africa who speaks English with that accent. All us Africans are like, where is this person supposed to be from? Because there's nobody on the continent that speaks like that. So that was, yeah, unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman, strange accent. Like, his dad, the person who was acting as King T'Chaka, it's a famous South African actor whose name is John Kani. Like, he even spoke in his indigenous African language too. And that was fine, but then Chadwick Boseman's accent was like weird, strange. I don't know anywhere in Africa where people speak like that. That's something where I think Hollywood in general needs to improve. Like, or you could just get an African actor to play an African. There are lots of African actors. And when I say African actors, I mean African actors also who come from outside of South Africa. South Africa is not the only country on the continent where actors come from. South Africa and Kenya. So I would say that in that moment, were my two, the moment with the CGI running were my two like the moments in the film, but it was a great film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not even gonna say I would, I'm definitely gonna watch that a couple more times, and like I said in my other video, it's definitely gonna be my film for 2016, like, cause it was great. This is a question that I have, right? Because at the end of the film, like the film ends, but then you always gotta stay a little bit because after the credits, or like in the middle of the credits rolling, there's like an extra scene. So we stayed, and for sure there that extra scene was, and we get to see like the fate of Bucky. So he has his arm ripped off, and now he's got like this little like stubby, partially metallic shoulder. So then he's being frozen again until they can figure out a way for him to exist without anybody being able to control him with those Manchurian candidate words. This is happening in Wakanda because Wakanda has got mad technology and money and resources and everything, and they're storing him away there. Nobody knows. Black Panther and Cap are like working together on this, and it's great. But I'm kind of like, well, if you've got all that technology, why haven't you just given him a new arm? At the same time, I kind of am also aware of the fact that, like, me thinking that kind of plays into this idea of that, like, disabled people on screen need to be fixed or, like, are not, like, whole per se. But, and I get that. He's perfectly fine without one arm, but my question kind of relates more to the fact that, like, we've got all this technology, we're freezing him again. His arm is made from the same vibranium that exists, like, in Wakanda, and they have it in tons, so, like, how come they haven't fixed his arm? Also, in the cinema here in France, like, I don't know if this happens as well. I think the first time I ever experienced it was in the cinema in Zambia, where we were watching Lord of the Rings, and people clapped. So, like, there are a lot of action scenes during this film where, like, the cinema just, like, broke out in applause, and I was like, this is weird, but okay. It was really good. Go check it out in cinemas, and yeah, share your thoughts, tell me what you thought. If you like this video, share it, subscribe, like, all those things. But yeah, I will be back again with another video soon, and until then, guys, bye!